understand why, when dealing with market structures in class, what we are usually taught, or what is usually being emphasized, is the perfect market as well as monopoly. We don't get to have a lot of explanation of monopolistic competitive industry as well as oligopoly. So this particular class we shall be talking about, or we shall continue our discussion on the monopolistic competitive industry. Right. So here, what's today's topic? Today's topic is all about the effect of entry and exit in a monopolistic competitive industry. The effect of entry and exit in a monopolistic competitive industry. Now, I have mentioned the fact that this is obviously not going to be your first class. If you are a student of Econometrics, this can be your first class when talking about monopolistic competitive industry. But let us just take a brush through the features of a monopolistic competitive industry. Number one, you have only buyers and sellers, so that's something about this particular market structure. Number two, it's characterized by easy entry and exit. Number three, we're talking about imperfect information. Alright, number four, there's product differentiation, and number five, there's price and non-price competition, etc. etc. Okay, one other thing is that, or some other things is that in this market structure, you kind of have a lot of advertisement going on, branding, whatever. But all of those are still coming back to talk about number four. No, when you have product differentiation, you kind of want to brand yourself, or you kind of want to advertise your product and show the world that this is why my product is different, this is why my product is better than your product. So in this particular class, there's going to be an emphasis on product differentiation, because that is what I feel a monopolistic competitive industry has that is so unique, and it's seriously unique. Now, what is product differentiation just talking about? It's just saying that the goods in this, the goods provided by the firms in this industry or in this market, alright, are not perfect substitutes. They have varying qualities. Alright, now the qualities may be perceived, the qualities may be real. Okay, now let me the qualities could also be okay, when I say perceived, like you kind of have this advertisement just bombarding this particular drink, telling that this drink is better than this other drink. Now when you taste the two drinks, there may not be any difference in the taste to you, but at least, well, you just feel from the advertisement, from some of the things going on, you just feel that this drink is better than this drink. Whereas in the technical sense of the matter, you can't really tell what better is when you taste this and when you taste that. Alright, but because you feel that this drink is better than this other drink, you are willing to pay more for this particular product. Alright, so product differentiation will just come in that form. Now, product differentiation will come in the form of mentioned quality. It could be in form of design. Right, just like there's a different way that people design their product, that firms design their product. Okay, now you just like, let me say, HP laptops because of its design. Alright, you kind of like Toshiba laptops because of their batteries. I'm not sure what I'm saying right here. Okay, I'm just trying to like bring the point home. Alright, so now you have Toshiba computers and HP computers. You could like one just because it has very strong battery to you. Alright, and it may be real. Alright, it may be real. In the real sense of it, Toshiba laptop batteries may be lasting longer than HP laptop batteries. So if you are someone likes kind of like the battery components of computers, okay, you are going to like Toshiba laptops. Alright, you are likely going to like Toshiba laptops. Now, what about HP laptops? You can just be someone that just likes the design of HP laptops. So now you have these two laptop or computer companies, alright, differentiating their products. The essence of laptops is kind of the same, alright. The essence of like maybe a kind of a category of, I'm not talking about supercomputers now, I'm talking about a category of laptops. Alright, the essence kind of the same. What this can do, the other can do. But this firm is just trying to, this firm has kind of made its product a little bit distinct, or it has made it seriously distinct from another product, which is why it has a market power. Alright, because of the particular features of its product, alright, which is considered to be superior to what you can obtain from a competing product, the producer can charge a higher price for that product. Not an extravagant price, obviously, but it can charge a reasonably high price on that product. Now, same goes for, I think I mentioned this point in the first video on monopolistic competitive industry. Okay, same goes for economics textbooks. Now, you have a lot of economics textbooks. Let me even talk about microeconomics already. You have textbooks by Nigerian producers, okay, although in some schools we don't get to use them, kind of use internationally recognized textbooks. And foreign books though, Nigerian books could be internationally recognized, but we just kind of use foreign books in some of our schools. Okay, so you might have, let's say, you have microeconomics textbooks written by Gregory Mankiw. You have microeconomics textbook written by Carl E. Case and Ray Fair. and I kind of like that book, I seriously like that book. Alright, I'm not saying I don't like Mankey. Mankey is very, very explanatory. Okay, then you kind of have H.L. Varian, I think a book written by, that's intermediate microeconomics anyway. Then you kind of have several other microeconomics textbooks. They are essentially microeconomics textbooks, they are essentially talking about the same thing. Alright, but here, the difference being that some of these books might have explanatory powers that are greater than other books. For example, if you are a newbie, alright, in microeconomics, for example, I think it is the introduction to microeconomics textbook or just microeconomics textbook by Gregory Mankey that is likely going to be recommended to you. Now, why? Because that book is kind of explanatory. That book is kind of simple. So when you read it, it's kind of easy. It's easier for you to grasp the basic things, the fundamental things, as a freshman in economics. As you then move forward, then some other textbooks are then recommended to you. Okay, so now in terms of explanatory power and in terms of simplicity, Mankey is kind of distinct to me. Alright. Now in terms of case studies, so you might have this particular book that is so great in terms of case studies. Not that others don't have case studies, but the case studies in this particular book that is trying to show the practicality of the theory you are learning from that particular book might be much more and pretty better than what you have in other books. Alright, so this other producer has made his book distinct in terms of case studies. Now, if you have a third microeconomics textbook that might make itself distinct in its mathematical approach, before you say something that's thrown more to mathematics in your face, before you look at another that's thrown another mathematics, another equation, another graph in your face. Not that it is a mathematical economics textbook, but it is just like that. So if you're the kind of person that values, a little bit of mathematics being thrown into your face, okay, or being thrown in your face, alright, by the textbook or from the textbook that you're reading, okay, fine, you can go for this other textbook. They are just so beautiful, alright. You don't even know what is inside, but they're just so beautiful. Their design, their graphs, their colors, the graphics, you just love this textbook, alright. So there are textbooks like that. All of these things are examples of product differentiation. The books are talking about essentially the same things, alright, but in one way or the other they are different, which makes their producers or their sellers able to charge a kind of price on that product. They can raise their price a little bit and not to their customers, because their customers who just value this particular attribute of their product. So that is an example of product differentiation. It could also come in terms of friendliness, user friendliness. Product differentiation will come in terms of user friendliness. So this particular service is just, the producer of this service is just so friendly, and then the product itself is very, very user friendly to use. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. Just get onto this thing and you know how to do it. Alright, as simple as possible. Like in terms of delivery, in terms of distribution, you buy some product, then you have maybe an installation service for free that comes with the product. Okay, now there was this time that I think 2006, another period, where in Nigeria, if you bought a DVD player, for example, if you bought a DVD player, now that DVD player is going to come with a compact disc that is a game disc, a game disc and 2 parts. So it just comes like that particular DVD player. We don't have to run the game, or maybe I'm just doing that it's kind of archaic in the market of DVD players. But then, whenever you want this particular type of DVD player, you are going to find a disc. I played Super Mario and Contra, and it comes with 2 parts. So that's a kind of difference. You're kind of differentiating your product. There are other DVD players that don't have those things, but this DVD player has this particular thing. So all of those things. So that's why I kind of wonder why we don't really get to talk about monopolistic competitive industry in class. Just perfect markets that you don't really have, right? A monopoly that is kind of frowned at by the society, somewhat kind of. I think I'm interested in monopoly as well, especially when I read the book 0 to 1. Right? I think I'll love my students to read that book. The first 10-20 pages of that book, 0 to 1, kind of gives you an idea or an alternative idea about monopolies that you may just try to like if you are a business person, right? So that's about that. Let's just move into what we want to do now. So we are on this board, on this part of the board, we have a graph of a profit-making monopolistic competitor in the short run. Okay, so in the short run, profits will be made, losses will be made. It's in the long run that zero economic profit is made. So here we have a monopolistic competitor that is making profits. If you look at it, I believe you understand this graph because I said this is not going to be your first class. Actually, so from here I believe you understand this graph. So here we have, I'll explain in one other class. Okay, when I was talking about price discrimination of the monopolist. Okay, why AR and MR are like this, so that's not a problem. So here you have the average cost, the MC intersecting MR. Okay, that's the optimization decision. The output, the profit, the decision that a firm takes to maximize its profit is where its MC equals the output by at which its marginal cost is equal to the marginal revenue. So this is marginal cost curve intersecting the marginal revenue curve at this point. Okay, so you bring it down, you get the quantity here, you trace that to the average cost curve, so this is the average cost, and then you trace that to the AR curve, and that gives you the price. Alright, so you can see that the price is far greater than the average cost for this particular firm, and that means there is a lot of economic profit in this this firm is experiencing a lot of economic profit. Okay, so now what does that mean? What does that mean? Recall that there is easy entry and exit. So because there is a large economic profit, or because there is a positive economic profit at all, you will then begin to realize that other firms will begin to enter this market. Other firms will begin to enter this market. So that's just it. So why are they entering the market? Because they also want to capture part or all of the existing economic profits in that market or industry. Okay, so when they start to enter, okay, two things are going to happen. It is easy for them to enter because there's easy entry and exit. Two things are going to happen, which is what I really want you guys to. One of the things I really want you guys to pay attention to. The first thing that is going to happen is that the industry supply is going to increase. Now, industry supply is going to increase because you have more firms now, okay, supplying this particular product. More firms, a lot of people are coming in, so you have industry supply increasing or the market supply increasing. Number two is that the existing firms, alright, before new firms begin to come in, the existing firms will be experiencing a reduction in the demand of their product, which means that there's going to be a leftward shift, okay, of their demand curves. There will be a leftward shift of their demand curves. Now, that is basically because your new firms are coming in, and of course, they are coming with their own differentiated products, whether passive or real. Alright, and that is going to at least make some customers of the existing firms to buy the products of those new firms. Alright, so because the new firms obviously deserve its own customers, so it is the new firms are basically taking customers from the existing pool of customers in that market structure. So if there is a competitor that comes in now, it's going to take some of these guys' customers. Alright, and the same thing happens like that over the market. So you have, as newer firms are coming in, a lot of them are coming in, then each of the existing firms using a kind of demand, some part of their demand, and that is telling us that demand curve is going to be shifting inward. So as whatever price it is that they were charging before, they will now be selling less. Okay, so that's a beautiful story, and that is what I'm going to show on this paragraph. So I made it big so that you'll be able to see it. Now, the third thing that I want you to notice is that I mentioned product differentiation. So now that new entrants are coming, okay, now that new ENTRANTS. Now that new entrants are coming into this industry, what do you think the existing firms are going to do? Do you think they're just going to sit back and then I'm just going to sit back as a producer and allow you guys to just come in for the market and take away all this economic profit that I'm kind of enjoying right now? Of course not. So that's what I'm going to do is I will now begin to seek ways to further differentiate my product. Alright, I have more competitors now, so I have to show the world, I have something to prove to the world that my product is superior than even the new ones that are coming in, which means that it's either I'm going to be experiencing an increase in cost. Okay, so I'm going to be spending either in improving the quality of my product, one, I'm spending on advertisement, I'm spending on branding. I'm just going to be doing some things that I wasn't doing before to make sure that I don't lose a significant portion of the market that I initially had. Okay, and all of these things would mean that the average cost curve of the existing firms would be shifting upwards. Okay, because now you have to further differentiate your product to remain in business. Okay, now these are things that are going to be happening So first, that's why I call this AR1, which shows the first demand curve. Now I'm going to call this there's going to be a parallel shifts inwards, or an inward parallel shift of the AR curve. So I call this the AR2. Now it comes with its alternative MR curve. So I call this the MR2. Okay, so I believe you understand how these things are happening. So the average cost curve, let me say initially we had, I think this was the old, so we had an average cost curve like this. The average go, okay, and just initially the average cost curve was this, AC, right? And the marginal cost curve, which is which is this guy. The marginal cost curve cuts where is this is the MR, and just try to replicate what is here. MC MR, cut this guy, something like this. Okay, something like this, MC. Okay, so now what we are going to be having, so initially this was the optimizing output, this was a Q star. This was a Q star one. But now you have your demand curve shifting inwards. So as your demand curve is shifting inwards, okay, because of new entrance, your own product differentiation is raising its the average cost of your firm. So instead of you having this point, you'll be having something like this, something like this. Where is this is the average cost curve? So I want to draw a parallel stuff. Okay, so let me call this MC. So let me call this like AC2, AC1. Now it's going to have its own MC curve as well. So you know that now I'm saying that there's an increase in the marginal cost. So when there's an increase in the marginal cost, is it shifting this way? I think it should be shifting kind of increase in marginal cost is going to be okay for these products initially, this is the marginal cost of producing this quantity. So this whole quantity will be having a higher marginal cost. Okay, higher marginal cost, which means that we will be having. So I wish I had multicolored chalks. Okay, you're having something like this. You'll be having something like this. Okay, so where this represents MC2, MC1, MC2. So all of these adjustments are going to be happening. So here, this stuff is this is AR1, AR2, MR1, MR2, MC1, MC2. This was the Q1 before. Okay, this was our AC1. I'll make a U shape to make it different. Then our AC2, I'll make a U shape to make it different. So here, the second guy, this is the MR of the second guy, and then this is the MC2. This is the MC2, right? Okay, MC2 is intersecting MR at this point. At this point. Okay, so you trace that here. You trace that here. So the new demand curve, this point, the new demand curve. Okay, so initially, so this guy is now, this is Q2 star. So when it was here, I went to the demand curve. Okay, so this is where the intersection happened. So you come here. This was the initial price. So you have P1, P1 star, and here you have P2 star, P2 star. So if you look at all of these things that are happening, even your P2, because this is your AR curve, right? Even your P2, this is this point represents. Let me see. This is AC2, right? Yeah, this is AC2. Okay, you can see that the price is still greater than the average cost, the second average cost. The price is greater than the second average cost. So this is AC2. Which is telling us that there is still economic profit in this market. So as I kind of make the graph bigger, I just hope you understand it. I really wish I had color chart so that made this thing more beautiful to see. I think that's kind of differentiation that we're talking about. Someone else will teach this thing and I use color charts and then I'm going to like that video more than this video, something like that. So anyway, I'm sorry for not having color charts to make the audience easy to see. So that's just it. So I want you to kind of practice these things, it's not difficult. You have the demand curve shifting inwards, and then you have the cost curves, going up. But as long as there is profit in this industry, look at this place now. The price, okay, the second price is still greater than the average profit, which means that economic profit in this market is still positive. Okay, the economic profit in the market is still positive, and that would still continue to bring in new entrants. Now, the profit here was higher, it was bringing in new entrant, new competitors. Now, the profit here is not as high as that, but because there is still economic profit here, positive economic profit, you still have more firms coming in. So they will continue to come in until there is zero economic profit, and then that takes us to the third. That is what is to the third graph. I don't have to draw many stuff here. So you kind of have the cost curves increasing, the demand curve kind of shifting, alternative things happening until we have a position where 0, this is Q. So you have a position where you have the demand curve is going inwards. So when you have the demand curve as something like, maybe it's eventually settles as something. I'm kind of looking at it that I'm coming from this graph. Okay, it was high here before, so the demand curve has come to a place like this. So we have let's call it AR3. So look at it as a continuation of this. So the demand curve has shifted inwards, AR3, and then the cost curve, your average cost curve has increased, has continued to go up until you have something like this. Until you have something like this. So I'll call this the third situation, AC3. Okay, then we have this is going to be MR3, and this is going to be so MC has increased as well. So let's say MC3. So there's the profit maximizing output. This is where MC3 is equal to MR3. So we have Q star 3. Let's call this Q star 3. Okay, so we come to this point, and then here our price P3 is equal to what? Average cost. The third average cost, AC3. So it's at this point that no other firm will come into this industry. Okay, it's at this point. So there is zero economic profit here. So whatever you invest here is the same thing. I think it's called numerator of return. Okay, whatever a firm, the capital that the firm is putting to use here to produce whatever it is producing, if it was put that capital elsewhere, it will be getting the same returns. So what economic profit kind of mean is that if the going numerator of return, for example, let's say there are multiple investment options, for example, and then they are all giving me like 15% rate of return, or 15%, rate of return. Let me just say that. Let me just put it that way. So that means if there is another business that is giving me 20%, okay, so if I were to put my money into other things, the other investment option that will give me 15%, and I have to put my money in this one, I'll give me 20%. So that means I'm earning above my numerator return. Okay, I have just one investment that is giving me 20%. I have different other type of investment, but they are giving me the same 15%. Okay, so if I put my money in 20%, that means if I put that money elsewhere, okay, that will be in other investment options, they will give me 15%. So that is telling me that the 5% that I am earning, 5% that I am earning more on this investment, okay, which is the one that is giving me 20%, is the positive economic profit. Okay, the positive economic profit. That is, so why is it zero economic profit? It simply means that this investment, when you put it in the capital that you've invested here, understand, when you put it in something else, you are going to get the same returns. So if this is 10%, and I put it in something else, in other kind of things I would have loved to put it, and they still give me 10%, so that means I'm earning zero economic profit. Okay, but if what I'm doing is greater than what the alternative investment are going to be giving me, if what I'm getting is greater than what the alternative investment will be giving me. So that is saying that I have a positive economic profit. So that is the essence of all of these things. So here, where there is zero economic profit, so if this, if all the firms decide to maybe shut down, is this shut down? No, this is long run now. So if they try to, if they want to maybe exit or whatever return that they are getting here in terms of, whatever it is the same that they will get it elsewhere. Okay, so no more person is coming in again. So this is what you are going to be having. Now there are things that we need to note about this position. Before I get to that, let me check something. Okay, first is that at this position you can see that this firm is not producing at its minimum average cost. This is the minimum average cost. Okay, where the MC is cutting the AC here. Now this firm is not producing at its minimum average cost. So this is what you have in the long run. Alright, in talking about monopolistic competitive industry, this is what it does, this is what you have. So because they are not producing at the minimum ATC, we say that there is productive inefficiency. Okay? So here we can observe, we can see that the average cost of this firm is not the least that it could possibly have. This is where the MC is intersecting the AC3, where MC3 is intersecting AC3. So in the long run, this is the long run situation of the firms in this industry right now. We see them producing at a point that is greater, at an average cost that is greater than the least that they could possibly have. So this is trying to tell us that there is productive inefficiency in this industry. So in a monopolistically competitive industry, in the long run, there is productive inefficiency. Productive inefficiency. Why? There is productive inefficiency simply because average cost is not the least. So this firm is not producing at its least possible average cost. So that's what we call productive inefficiency. So when we say productive efficiency, what does productive efficiency mean? Productive efficiency is just talking about a firm being efficient enough to be able to produce every unit of output at the least average cost possible. Okay, so that's productive efficiency. And since that is not what we are having in this place, that means there's productive inefficiency. The same thing goes for this point alternatively also means excess capacity. Okay, this firm can continue to produce output till it gets to this place. So it gets to this point. Okay, there's still a greater amount of output that it can produce in the long run. Okay, if it was produced around this place, where its price is going to be equal to its average total. Is it price now? Where there's a quantity where it can produce, where to be at its minimum average total cost. So now because it is not producing at that output, this firm has excess capacity. Okay, the firm can produce much more than it is currently producing, so it is not making the best use of its resources. That gives us productive inefficiency, and that also means that this firm has excess capacity. You still have capital lying down, maybe labor, maybe piece of land still lying down, being underutilized. Okay, then the third thing that we have to note in the monopolistically competitive industry is the presence of allocative inefficiency or the absence of allocative efficiency. The presence of allocative inefficiency or the absence of allocative efficiency. So allocative efficiency is just talking about, the combination or the usage of, inputs or the usage of resources in a way that maximizes social welfare. Alright, the usage of resources in a way that maximizes social welfare. Social welfare becomes so much maximized now. We are talking about consumer surplus in addition to the producer surplus now to give us the total economic surplus. So, and that will only happen if the marginal cost of an output, if the social marginal cost of an output, that is, the marginal cost of an output to people, okay, social marginal cost, is equal to the social marginal benefits that they derive from that output, which is equal to the price that they are paying. Okay, so here we are talking about the price of the product being equal to the social marginal cost of the product. Okay, so that is trying to tell us that allocative efficiency is the point where allocative efficiency exists. Allocative efficiency exists where the price is equal to the marginal cost. So this is kind of social marginal cost. Okay? Alright, so where the price is equal to the marginal cost. But if you look at it, the price, this is the marginal cost of this output. This is marginal cost of this output. this point, that's the marginal cost of the output. So the price, which is MC, let me just call it MC, just know that it's this point. Alright, so which means that the price of this product is what? Or let me, maybe I can call it MC3. Let me call it MC3, since the entire code is called MC3. So let me just call it the MC. So the price of this product is greater than its marginal cost. So this is telling us that what the society is paying for this product is greater than what it costs the society to produce it. So that is just trying to tell us that the society's welfare is not maximized, and this is going to lead to debt loss. Alright, so I think I spoke about that already when we are talking about monopoly, and so it's kind of the same thing, it's the same kind of scenario. Okay, I already explained that. So that is the same is happening here. So you have excess capacity in the monopolistic competitive industry, you have productive inefficiency. You should know why there's productive inefficiency, because production is not where you have the minimum, the least cost per unit. Okay, this cost per unit, and then you also have allocative. There's absence of allocative efficiency simply because the price, okay, is greater than marginal cost. So this is why there's allocative inefficiency. Let me see there's something that I will read here for you. Under productive efficiency, when firms are able to produce at the least possible average cost, they exhibit productive efficiency. I already explained that. Alright, so monopolistically competitive industry are not productively efficient because their price, is it their price now, is greater than their average total cost. Okay, that's a wrap. You are likely, I know you are likely not going to understand some of the things that I've been explaining in this video, so I would encourage you to take your time, especially the things that have happened here. I would encourage you to take your time to practice, to know how to move the curves, and to understand the explanations behind all of these things. Okay, so I don't expect you to do that once. Please just take your time and take life gently. Life is not hard. Alright, you have an assignment, and the assignment is for you to graphically depict how short-run losses, here it's for short-run profits, how short-run losses affect the composition, the price. I'm talking about the profit maximizing price now. Profit maximizing price, the quantity and profits of the monopolistically competitive firms in the long run. So what kind of price are they going to be charging in the end? Here, obviously, P3 is the lesser price than the price that was charged in this place. Okay, so by the time you analyze your own, tell us what is going to happen. Right, so you know where to submit the assignment, right? So submit it to my DM on WhatsApp, and that is for students that are enrolled on Econometrics. Right, so that's about that. See you in the next